this hour, Parliament of Maldives extends state of emergency with amendments and decides to provide relief to some of the rights restricted under it. PPM says President Yamin is a true leader who would always serve Maldives in the limits allowed by the Constitution. Elections Commission of Maldives holds separate meetings with visiting United Nations and European Union delegations. And Defense Minister refutes rumors that foreign military vessels are active in Maldivian territory.
Hello and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Fatma Sara. Parliament of Maldives extends a state of emergency with amendments and decides to provide relief to some of the rights restricted under it.
The Parliament voted to give approval to the Presidential Decree of February 5 and its consequent amendments extended the state of emergency and provide relief to some of the rights restricted under it on the basis of the state of emergency, which will be imposed on individuals alleged to have carried out illegal activities and places they stayed as per the decree. The Presidential Decree and its amendments declaring the state of emergency have been extended by an additional 30 days by the Parliament. Furthermore, in amending the decree, the Parliament also decided that the rights restricted under the articles of the Constitution due to the state of emergency will be lifted effective from the date of extension on the state of emergency. These include Article 100, removal of President or Vice President, Article 101, vote of no confidence for a member of the Cabinet, Article of 113, jurisdiction of the Supreme Court on the impeachment of the President, and Article 228, removal of Prosecutor General from the office. Section 38 of the Regulation of Parliament state matters on which compliance by citizens which requires more than half of the total membership of the Parliament are present at the sitting at which the matter is voted upon as per 87B of the Constitution. Nonetheless, the declaration of the state of emergency is not included as matter which requires compliance by citizens as per Section 38 of the Regulation of the Parliament. Hence, the sitting was presided taking into view at the quorum needed to pass the Presidential Decree declaring the state of emergency, and the consequent amendments were that which stipulated in Article 86 of the Constitution. The Parliament at session also decided to seek legal advice of the Supreme Court under Article 95 of the Constitution in relation to questions raised by some of the members of the Parliament with regard to the Parliament's quorum.
Progressive Party of Maldives PPM says President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum is a true leader who would always serve Maldives in the limits allowed by the Constitution. Addressing a rally organized by the ruling Party of Maldives, parliamentarian Ali Arif affirmed that President Abdullah Yamin would never misuse his executive powers. Ali Arif said the oppositional alliance has been exerting major efforts to misguide the public by wrongly interpreting laws and regulations. Continuing on, Ali Arif emphasized that President Yamin has been fulfilling his duties with full might and loyalty. However, he noted the opposition has not been responsible throughout the state of emergency, with opposition parliamentarians exercising a mass boycott in the parliament. Election Commission of Maldives holds separate meetings with the visiting United Nations and European Union delegations. The meeting with United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights was led by the Chief of the Rule of Law, Equality and Non-Discrimination Branch Mona Rishmavi and Resident Coordinator for the United Nations in Maldives Ashok Onoda. Meanwhile, Ambassador of European Union to Maldives Tung Glaimak led the European delegation in the meeting with the Election Commission. The discussions of the separate meetings held focused on strengthening the electoral system and preparing for the upcoming presidential elections. Both delegations applauded the Commission for its continued efforts to hold free and fair elections in the Maldives. Minister of Defence and National Security Adam Sharif Umar refutes rumours that foreign military vessels are active in Maldivian territory. In an exclusive interview with PSM News, Defence Minister Adam Sharif assured that Maldives does not have any threat of a foreign invasion. The Maldivian Defence Minister called to refrain from spreading such baseless rumours which would prompt terror and fear in the public. In this regard, Minister Adam Sharif called on all parties to maintain peace and harmony in the country. The minister further assured that Maldivian National Defence Force would always stay committed and prepared to defend the nation from any foreign attack. He noted that Maldives is faced with an internal political situation which should be solved via dialogue and not from foreign influence. He urged Maldivians to keep aside political differences and work together to maintain peace and harmony in the country. India's Punjab College of Technical Education (PCTE) opens scholarship enrollment opportunity for Maldivian students. Maldivian students are eligible to apply for 10 full scholarships and 4 partial scholarships under the enrollment opportunity provided by PCTE. Department of Higher Education of Maldives says that the scholarship provided by PCTE include opportunities varying from bachelor's to master's level programs. In this regard, 10 slots have been allocated for bachelor's level programs, with 4 slots allocated for master's level programs. According to the Higher Education Department, scholarship opportunities are provided by PCTE from such fields as journalism and mass communication, science and business studies. The department said interested students can apply for only one desired scholarship before February 25th. Ministry of Environment and Energy contracts Fenaka Corporation Limited to provide electricity services for waste management facilities established in 6 islands. The agreements were signed by Minister of Environment and Energy Tariq Ibrahim and Managing Director of Fenaka Corporation Ahmed Sharif. Under the agreement, Fenaka Corporation will provide electricity services for waste management facilities established in Formula City, Marmendu and Konde of Gafal Atoll, Gang of Lam Atoll, Kudahuadu of Dal Atoll and Milandu of Shavin Atoll. Speaking at the function held to sign the contracts, Environment Minister Tariq Ibrahim said the projects would be funded by the Public Sector Investment Program PSIP. The minister revealed that the projects would cost about $142,296 and should be completed within 120 days. Ministry of Environment and Energy contracts 2 companies to establish waste management facilities in 2 islands. Aquamarine Holidays Private Limited was contracted to establish a waste management facility in Rimbidu of Dal Atoll within a period of 120 days. The Manu Company Private Limited was contracted to establish a waste management facility in Magudu of Faf Atoll within a period of 90 days. The contracts were signed by Minister of Environment and Energy Tariq Ibrahim, Managing Director of Aquamarine Holidays Private Limited Abdul Rahman Mujtaba and Managing Director of Damman Company Private Limited Ali Siraj. The project would cost over $65,000 and would be funded by Public Sector Investment Program PSIP budget. Furthermore, Environment Ministry contracted CDE Private Limited to conduct an environmental and social impact assessment prior to establishing the regional waste management system in Addu City. The project would cost about $20,000, would be funded by the Public Sector Investment Program PSIP budget and should be completed within 6 months. Supreme Court of Maldives issues a temporary ruling that Parliament decision regarding the extension of state of emergency should be followed until the Supreme Court gives legal counsel on the matter. The Parliament of Maldives decided to seek legal advice of the Supreme Court under Article 95 of the Constitution in relation to the questions raised by some of the members of Parliament with regard to Parliament's quorum. Minister of Legal Affairs at President Office Azima Shakur states the Moldovan constitution is at its nascent stage and the way it is drafted would bring the state to a deadlock. Speaking on a program aired on Sri Lankan Ada Dharana TV, Minister Azima noted various challenges have been faced in governing the country since the introduction of democracy in 2008.
Briefing on the current events in Maldives, Minister of Legal Affairs at President's Office Azima Shakur said the current political situation was created when the opposition coalition attempted to topple the constitutionally elected government by illegal means. Speaking on the program, the Legal Affairs Minister cited the attempt involved deep-rooted corruption in the judicial sector. Minister Azima Shakur noted that President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum had tried all means of communication with the judicial sector, but that it remained ignorant, which led to the declaration of the state of emergency to de-escalate the situation. Continuing on, the minister said the Maldivian constitution is at its nascent stage and the way it is drafted would bring the state into a deadlock. Azima further stated that the administration is putting forth major efforts to find those shortcomings and maintain peace and harmony to the nation. She said it is unfair to judge the nascent democracy with the well-developed democracies in other foreign countries.
But when it is at this nascent stage of democracy, to put a constitution like this into practice is extremely difficult. Professor Eugene's work was concluded December 2017, and he reported in 2018 January. And him and a lot of other people who have studied into the constitution agree that the constitution is drafted in such a way that it can easily bring the state into a deadlock. And this is what we see over and over again. Just to give you a simple example of for the people who hearing us talk about the nascent democracy. One simple example so that this could be put into perspective. Yes, as the ambassador said, we are judged by people who have got better versions of democracy, better versions of court system, and our court system is so young. To give you an example, I'm one of the, I think I would be one of the first 10 lawyers to be registered in the country of Maldives. Second woman lawyer. Mm-hmm. And we have barely 600 registered lawyers in this country. And this is how young the system is. This is what you basically are grappling with right now at the end of the day.
Furthermore, Azima Shakur highlighted that the administration gives utmost priority to resolve the current political situation in the country, and further highlighted the discussions with relevant authorities are proceeding at a fast pace. In addition to Minister Azima, former chair of Alliance of Small Island States IOSIS, Robert Van Lierop, and Professor Eugene Tan of Singapore Management University were on the panel to discuss about the current Maldives situation and geopolitics in the region. Speaking on the program, Professor Eugene Tan said that the Maldives currently follows a presidential system in which legislature is able to put some influence in the agenda of the government. In this regard, Professor Eugene Tan highlighted that the check and balance system is a crucial part of a constitution, but it is also important to allow President to conduct his electoral mandate.
Let me be clear. I think it is important for any constitution to have adequate system of checks and balances, but I think, it is also important for the Constitution to be able, to allow the government, in this case, in Maldives' case, the government that is headed, by the president, who is also the head of state and head of government, to be able to carry out his electoral mandate, that was given, by the people. And I think, so long as, you have each branch of government, trying to overreach, then I think that is where, we are going to see, this sort of deep disputes occurring.
President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Qayyum declared state of emergency in Maldives on February 5 for a 15-day period, which was later extended for another 30 days. While at various instances it has been speculated that Maldives is under the radar of foreign influence, but the administration has refuted all these claims by stating that Maldives maintains a friendly and cordial relations with all foreign nations.
Bank of Maldives BML opens 2 new ATMs in Adu City. According to BML, the 2 new ATMs are located at Gang International Airport and Hitadu Regional Hospital. The new ATMs are part of the $19.4 million investment program of the National Bank to expand banking services and financial inclusion across the country. BML said the new ATMs in Adu will provide customers with more options to withdraw cash and have been placed in convenient locations. Deputy Chief Executive Officer of BML, Mohammed Sharif, said the bank aims to support the banking needs of travelers and the many individuals and families who use the regional hospital. Currently, BML has branches across all 20 atolls with 34 self-service banking centers, 95 ATMs, 4,900 point-of-sale merchants and 230 agents established. The union representing workers at KFC's former UK chicken distributor is calling on the fast food firm's executives to realise they have made a mistake by switching contractors.
Hundreds of stores across UK remain closed on because of the shortage of chicken. The problem arose at the weekend after the chain switched its delivery contract to DHL, which KFC said had problems in delivering fresh chicken. Workers Union GMB said it had tried to warn KFC that its decision to change suppliers would cause problems. It said Bidvest Logistics was forced to make 255 workers redundant and restructure their business after it lost the contract in November.
We saw this coming weeks ago, when a company like Bidvest Logistics, which is a specialist in this area, when it loses a contract and it goes to DHL, who are not specialists in food distribution, the loss of 265 GMB members at Bidvest Logistics, the closure of a depot at Hoddesdon just off the M25, the restructuring of Bidvest Logistics as a business because of the share that it lost with the KFC contract. This has affected people's real life.
According to reports, 575 of the 900 KFC stores in the UK are closed.
A war monitoring group says pro-government forces have bombarded various towns in Syria's eastern Ghouta, killing at least 66 people after the heaviest one-day death toll in the region in 3 years.
Video uploaded on social media purported to show the aftermath of bombings in Erbil in southern Syria, where injured children were receiving medical assistance. In videos released on internet by Syrian civil defense group known as White Helmets, residential neighborhoods were shown to be completely destroyed in airstrikes, and people trapped under the rubble were rescued and carried away on stretchers as airstrikes continued to target the towns of Douma and Misraba. The British-based observatory said this was the heaviest one-day toll in 3 years, with 127 people killed in air raids, rocket strikes and shelling of the areas near Damascus. It said more than 210 people have died since the bombing intensified late on the Sunday, including 54 children, and 850 have been injured. The United Nations called for an immediate ceasefire in the area on Monday, saying the situation was spiraling out of control after an extreme escalation in hostilities. The violence in eastern Ghouta is part of a wider escalation in fighting on several fronts in Syria, as President Bashar al-Assad pushes to end the 7-year rebellion against him. Assad's most powerful supporter, Russia, has been following a diplomatic track at the same time as the increase in fighting, resulting in establishment of several de-escalation zones. Other insurgent groups in eastern Ghouta say the Syrian government and Russia are using the militant presence as a pretext to continue their bombardment. The Syrian Foreign Ministry said militants in Ghouta are targeting Damascus and using people as human shields. It said in a letter of complaint to the United Nations that some Western officials were denying the government's right to defend itself. United Nations Syria envoy Staffan de Mistura warned the escalating battle in Ghouta could turn into a repeat of bloody fight for Aleppo, over which Damascus regained full control in late 2016 after years of fighting.
Chelsea coach Antonio Conte says his side played almost the perfect game against Champions League favourites Barcelona, but he was still disappointed with the 1-1 home leg result.
The Italian Premier League champions have struggled to impose themselves in domestic football this season, but soaked up Barcelona's pressure before Willian scored on 62nd minute of their last 16 first-leg tie. Barca had 2 shots on target and scored with the second when Iniesta cut the ball back to Messi in the 75th minute with Chelsea's defense out of position. The statistics: 68% possession for the visitors against 32 for the home side, disguised an absorbing balanced match in which Chelsea enjoyed the better chances. Willian hit the post twice in the first half before putting the ball away into the bottom corner set up by Eden Hazard. Conte said the team's performance gives them confidence that they can progress and knock Barcelona out of the competition.
This game must give us a lot of confidence to trust that in the second leg the qualification is open. The qualification is open. It won't be easy. We must be realistic because we are talking about Barcelona, and also tonight they show it to be a really strong team, a fantastic team.
Barca's coach Ernesto Valverde said the match pitted two contrasting styles, but was pleased that his side grabbed an away goal before the end. Chelsea travelled to Barcelona for the second leg on March 14.
Well, that's it for PSM News in English. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.